the tournament in your tenure at A&M. Do you think about that a lot, or is it just game time?
Yeah, from Selection Sunday till now, it's just the time seems to go really fast because you're trying to learn and research and figure out things on a team that you have no concept of, and you're trying to figure out their players, you're trying to figure out their style of play, trying to watch as many clips and tapes and games as possible. Really happy for all of us. There's multiple guys in our program that are adults or young adults that have never had an opportunity to play on this stage. And for things to have played out over the last 70 days the way that they have, I think there's so many life lessons that'll be healthy for them the rest of their life, and that they get to experience this. It's the greatest tournament in any sport, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I don't really think of it for myself. I know I'm a part, but just for everybody, it's really cool.
I know you've played in several, or coached in several first round games. Is there a difference in the psychology of it? What's kind of the approach, the psychology of a first round game?
Yeah, I think this will be my 19th NCAA tournament game. So this would be my 9th first game, right? The games last forever. And for everyone involved, everybody's anxious. And obviously because of the money involved, the commercials are longer, the timeouts are longer, the introductions are longer. And I don't know, Travis, like how you rep that. I think you have to be efficient with your words, but it can't be too wordy. But you have to figure out a way to be engaged during all of those breaks. I think each break's 2.5 minutes. That's when the horn sounds, which means it's 3 minutes before the ball's back in play. And 3 minutes in real time, when you're win or go home, I think that kind of wears on you. It's okay initially. You start getting to the second half and a coach calls a timeout, and now you're assured of a minimum of 5 timeouts. I would say that's something that I haven't brought to our players' attention, but I will as we get closer. But I don't necessarily know how to practice. I think the game shortens no matter how fast teams play, because the value of the possession is so important. And I think there is some level of, this is the first time we've played a team that we don't know about since late December. And there's a newness of, I don't know you and I've never played against you, and I don't know all of your plays, and whatever I've learned was in a very shortened period of time. I think when you play on a Thursday, and every team's different, right? If you play in your championship game, there's only 4 leagues that now play on Sundays. Okay, well, most everyone is home on Sunday. We weren't home until late Sunday. And so you have to give your players off. So you're off on Monday. And so if you play on Thursday, you're traveling on Tuesday because media practices Wednesday. So it's a really fast turn. And so how you utilize film tomorrow, you only get 40 minutes on the floor. Do you want to go somewhere else and practice? You only get 20 minutes of shoot around day of. Playing the night game, that's a long day. How are you going to utilize that time? And then when you get to the game, longer breaks. So I think discipline, stamina, those are words we use in our program. I don't know that discipline applies to this conversation, but there's some level of mental endurance or stamina to be able to stay locked in that for sure comes into play.
You guys have obviously found a lot of success getting to the free throw line this year. I'm wondering, just from your experience, how different things are called and officiated in the NCAA tournament compared to the regular season, if you feel like that will translate this tournament.
Well, a couple of things that I would say on that. The primary officials in the SEC have a direct report to the basketball commissioner in the SEC. But that's not who determines who calls games in March Madness. That's the lead official throughout the country who's new. The officials are very similar to the players and coaches. If you win, you get to stay. If you lose, you go home. And so it's based on your performance. So they try to do everything right. It's a big deal to them, as it should be. They want to advance to the second weekend. They want to advance to the Final Four. And like any other category of a small population of an industry, it's hard to move up the chain because it's so top heavy, right? There's multiple guys in our league that have called in multiple Final Fours. So to be the new guy or the middle-aged guy that's trying to make his way, it's based on how you do in the game. And so I think there's a different vibe to that too. And they don't know you, and they don't know your team. They don't know the opponent. They don't know the opponent's team. So everything is brand new to everybody.
Bus, you were already a little bit familiar with Penn State right off the bat.
Yep.
You gave us a quick scouting report, but what have you learned since in the couple days since?
22 may be the most effective 6'6" guard in the country. Has the highest usage rate of any player we've played since we've been here. 48% of their shots have come from three, which is the 8th most threes attempted in the United States. And they make 41% of them as a team, which is the 3rd best. So their 3-point volume and 3-point percentage combined, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the country. 22's usage rate is 38%, which is just astronomical. They play with a very, very low turnover rate, and it's partly because 22 is making most of their decisions. And he forces you to make decisions on how you're going to guard him. And in accordance with your decision, that dictates where the ball's going. If there were categories, whatever categories you would say, they're either green, as in they're really, really good, or they're red, and they're really, really bad. There is no yellow in those categories. It's very unique. I've really enjoyed studying them. One of my former assistants at Marquette is on their staff. I do not know Coach. He's known as a very offensive, great ingenuity, hundreds and hundreds of plays, and they've done a phenomenal job. They've won 8 out of their last 10. I think they played 4 games in the Big Ten tournament. All were 2-possession games, and obviously they won 3 out of the 4. And then they won 4 out of 5 to close down their regular season. Number 22, to give context, this is what I said to our team. Number 22 has taken 100 more shots than 4. That's a lot of balls. Number 22 has 100 more assists than 4. That's a lot. Number 22 has 150 more rebounds than 4. And so I think 4 is important to what we do. And specific to Penn State, obviously 22 is a critical component to what they do. And so I've enjoyed studying them. They put stress on you because how are you going to guard 22? And then in many respects, whoever is playing with him at that time, they're all standing outside the 3. And do you remember last year, the point guard from Wake Forest had good size, Alondis Williams. He had played at Oklahoma, and I think he was the leading scorer and leading assist player in the ACC last year. And like when the ball came out of his hand, it was just on a rope. And he has that ability to pass. Like he's controlling the ball. He's waiting on your decision on how you're going to guard him. And as soon as you make the decision, he's made his decision. And if the ball is coming out of his hand, it is on a straight strike to his teammate. And stereotypically speaking, they're going to shoot a three. So, yeah, I have more studying to do, obviously, but thus far, just as a coach, I enjoy watching it because they run really, really good stuff.
Generally speaking, with their volume of threes, does that change how you look at how you defend them, maybe from
Yes.
how you typically?
Yeah. Yeah. They shoot too many. And so they're dependent to some degree. Their foul rate is real low. Their foul rate's really low because most of their team stays outside the three. Their turnover rate is really low. I think they turn it over the third least in the country because one player is making the decision. So they will play similar to Vanderbilt when the big kid got hurt, and I think Vanderbilt had won 10 out of 12 when we played them. And for the most part, they would play a five for a few minutes. But the rest of the time, somebody was playing the five, but he wasn't a five, and it was small ball. They're going to play a portion of the game small ball, and all it means is there's just another good 3-point shooter on the floor, and he's the furthest pass away from number 22 who has the ball.
Coach, we see it all the time. In March, especially some of the higher seeds, teams that just happen to play their best basketball this time of year. You've been a part of some of those teams. I'm curious if you've noticed a common thread with some of those teams that can find whatever that thing is to allow them to play their absolute best in the tournament, even win or lose. Just what do you think some of those are?
Yeah, good question. I'd have to think about it to give you a better answer. The more versatility you have, the better. Your ability to adapt on both ends of the floor probably allows you to have a better opportunity to advance because there's so many different distinct styles of play. So the versatility of your players in regards to their skill, positionless, etc. And the same thing within your system, are there adaptations that you have reps of that in a game or leading up to a game, hey guys, on this is what we're going to do. I think those are the teams that advance. I think teams with really good guards always have a chance because they can make a play without a play being called. I think they can make a play after the play didn't work. And I think teams that control the glass always have a chance because a team's shooting it really well, a team's not shooting it really well, the ball's flying all over the rim, the ball's coming out of the net. If you can control the glass, you at least have a chance to control the tempo. And I would think those would be some common threads, just off the top of my head.
Running out of time, but if you have something that has to be asked, we'll go to it.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about it earlier that you've got quite a few players that this will be their first tournament experience. How do you kind of, keep the excitement there, but not let that moment get too big once you get there?
Yeah, I think I think that's a part of it. Guys that have played all of their life, that are hoop fans, that don't play video games throughout the night, that this is their passion, but it's also what they do. It's their hobby because they want to keep up with it. They've always dreamed of playing. So I don't want to dampen their excitement. I think relative to the maturity required to still do your job and do your work, I think that's where the leadership from within the team, whether they've been or not, that consistent leadership that you've had throughout the year, hey, this rep's important, this point is important. You rely on the leadership. I don't think the staff changes the standard per se because it's NCAA tournament. I think whatever your standard has been throughout the year, we lost, we won, we're on a winning streak, we're on a losing streak. I think that standard has to stay the same, and that's always best when it's players holding one another to that standard. And we've we've had some leaders blossom and grow and develop, particularly over the last 2.5 months when things were at a dead end. We've had some guys that have stepped up not only in their words, but in their actions. And so there was a little bit of that even happened today. And I think some of that will continue to happen leading up until the game, but I also think it'll happen during the game, right? And that's what you want. That's what you want.
All right, is that a wrap? I think it is.